we can use, right? 10 seconds. I think 10 seconds is the legal limit, whether it's monetized or not.
Something like that. Yeah.
What's up, YouTube? 20 fans of ours. Are we at 22, or have our subscribers gone up at all?
It's naturally 18.
The 22 haystacks that are floating about. So we shot an episode entitled Episode 6 that we don't know what to do with because the audio is chopped. So we'll either call this episode 6.57 or we'll label episode 6 as the lost episode if we ever decide to post it at some point. But it kind of sucks because we came straight from the Batman v Superman, not premiere, but then like opening weekend, and we had a pretty good discussion. I guess we can talk about its current state in terms of like where it's at as a movie and the future of Batman v Superman. I mean, it's all gonna be speculatory. I don't know if that's the proper grammar or anything, but yeah. But some things to talk about today. I mean, the two main things that I want to get going here is we lost two people in this world. I guess the majority of the public only cares for the one person, but then I guess if you're WWF, I'm never calling it WWE, just never. It's WWF. You're a WWF or a wrestling fan in general, like myself and Jonas, and you're a wrestling fan, weren't you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like the three of us. You will also know that we lost a great prominent female figure in the world of wrestling. But let's get into Prince right now dying, like what he meant to us and the world, and we'll get a rectangular table discussion. First of all, I want to address that's our sound guy, Danny. What's up?
What's up, Danny?
GQZ, Post of Vancouver. He's the guy that
he's the Q.
He's the Q, man. He's behind the ones and twos. Fuck, I need to get used to introducing you guys first, since this is still relatively new. And to my left is Jonas Dela Cruz.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Basically a part of the show.
Yeah.
And we are missing my confidant, my co-pilot, my wingman. Chancho, a.k.a. Daniel. He had some really critical family stuff to do today, so we are captaining the ship without him. But what up, Daniel? If you're watching this, you better be watching this, you motherfucker.
You're one of the 20.
Yeah.
You're one of the 20 subscribers.
Yeah. Now we'll get the subscribers going. I'll give an update on like where we are at. Like first of all, we're shooting this in Yaletown in a meeting room, so we don't. This is actually looks
super
cooler, more professional.
Yeah, 100.
We won't be able to smoke we'll be able to drink. We didn't bring any drinks, but we'll be able to drink. We can't smoke in here.
Yeah.
We definitely can't bang any drums, but we'll definitely have a more professional setting, I guess. Not from here on out, because we'll have other locations. I will be moving into a new place.
Nice.
We'll get into that later, and we'll shoot future episodes from there. But for now, let's talk Prince. Prince. So, what do you guys think? How do you guys feel about Prince dying?
Man. Well, I remember where I was. I thought it was fake. I thought people were like, just joking about. And then, it's not official until, it's really official. And then, sure enough, it was real. And I don't know. It was pretty. I don't want to say that it was as significant or as much of a loss as when Michael died for me, because back when he died, he was still, he's kind of on his comeback, and he had been sort of in the media for a bit. But yeah, this was all, out of nowhere as well. That was pretty rough.
Yeah, well, the difference between a Prince dying and a Michael dying is like, Michael was surrounded in controversy, so
yeah.
The whole thing, like, no matter how you feel about Michael Jackson, everybody's like, mostly sad about him. Of course,
sure.
We lost an icon. Like, I think we talked about Michael in the first episode. I said some not so great things about it, but
yeah.
No, I mean, the world lost something when we lost Michael,
for sure.
But you can't deny that the guy was surrounded in controversial things, guilty or not. Whereas Prince, definitely not as iconic as Michael. I mean, he is, but not like 5-year-olds till this day know who Michael is.
Yeah.
I don't think a 5-year-old would know Prince.
A 22-year-old doesn't know.
Yeah, a 22-year-old probably wouldn't know.
I knew a guy was like, who's Prince?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
The kids these days probably wouldn't know who Prince is, but he is on the iconic status.
For sure. Yeah.
Again, he will never touch Michael's achievements, but people that grew up in the same era that, you know, that worship at Michael's peak
Mm-hmm.
are the same audience for Prince.
Exactly.
And he,
Yeah.
like I said, he wasn't as controversial, you know, outside of the stage as Michael was. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That we know of.
That we know of,
That
for
we
sure,
know
for
of.
sure. But I mean, Prince is, you know, he had a reputation as well for being a like a super, like, not diva artist, but he had had some demands as well. And I would be reading stories of Prince and how he he's super secretive, or like super private guy, doesn't really like to go out and party, and when he does, he like makes sure it counts.
Mhm.
He's the kind of cat who would play a 500 capacity crowd just because he can. And he would apparently still be doing shows in his native of Minneapolis,
Yeah.
or like in Minnesota somewhere. So that's pretty chill. And Prince is definitely had some hits too. Did not know that this guy also wrote for a whole bunch of artists.
Yeah, for me personally, I mean, I wasn't a Prince fan growing up per se, but I
For
knew
sure.
of him, and I definitely respected him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, it's just sad in general when a person like that, especially so young, 57 years old, dies. Needless. I mean, I guess I don't even think it was covered on a global scale that he had health issues or whatever. Like it's like one of those things where, like you said earlier, it came out of nowhere.
Literally, he's a young guy, man.
Yeah.
57 years old, right?
Yeah.
They were saying how the flu might have affected his health,
Yeah.
because they were saying just how sick he was, just regular.
I just can't wait for the internet conspiracies to come
Oh.
out that the Illuminati
Yeah.
probably had something to do with Prince.
He's vegan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, So sometimes though, people just die, man.
Yeah.
Of just really crappy situations to go, but at the very same day that he died, Chyna as well. No,
I think she died before.
It was the day before.
Day before.
Was it the day
Day
before?
before.
Like the day or 2 days before.
April 20th, yeah, 420. Oh, happy 420, everybody. Happy 424. Did you guys go to 420 this year?
no, man.
No? I haven't gone since 2008 because I actually quit smoking weed in 2008. But usually I made it a thing that I'm going to go to the 420 events.
Yeah.
But I haven't really kept up more. I'm always out of town during 420. Like I'm either working or just out of town.
Well, I saw like photos of it online. It was packed, man.
Yeah.
They held it over at
Yeah, they stopped doing it at the art
Sunset
gallery.
Beach.
Sunset
yeah,
Beach,
I'm
man.
definitely gonna hit that up next year. We should hit that up next year from in town.
That'd be chill.
But yeah, no, she died 420, and
Yeah, no, Chyna, man. I mean, I grew up watching her. She was part of DX.
yeah, let's give a rundown on for the people out there who didn't know Chyna, and then obviously the people who did know what she was about. I mean, we'll definitely celebrate her life a little bit. But before we get into that, Danny, what do you think? How do you feel about Prince's untimely death?
My roommate texted me while I was in bed, and then I read it, and I didn't believe it until I Googled it.
Yeah.
But yeah, next thing you know, first thing we do, play Prince's greatest hits throughout the apartment.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Why not, right? The whole day. No, yeah, Prince was, like you say, not as iconic as Michael, but at the same time, he had a hell of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Prince fucking who is it that said it in their stand-up comedy? Something about how like Prince was like fucking exuded sexuality for like a tiny
For
short
tiny
guy,
person.
right? Like
Yeah.
he was a fucking stud. I think it was
I
either
don't
Eddie
remember.
Murphy.
No, I would have remembered it.
Wasn't Eddie Murphy?
No,
Maybe Chris
because I've
Rock?
seen no, not Dysfunction.
Dave
Delirious.
Chappelle.
I've seen Delirious and Rob many
Rob.
times, and I don't remember him talking.
He doesn't say with Prince, no?
No.
Fuck, who was it? Anyway, yeah. But yeah, the point is fucking, he can get laid with whoever he wants because even though he's, 5'2" or something,
Mm-hmm.
and fucking little pencil mustache or
Yeah.
goatee or whatever and shit, it's still.
Well, anybody that's famous can get laid. Doesn't matter what. Like, Mini Me probably got laid more times than I have and stuff. That's not to discredit Prince, but I'm just saying like anybody that's
Yeah,
relatively friendly to the camera. That it's like a package deal that it comes with the territory. But actually, to rebuttal what we both agreed on in terms of young cats not knowing who Prince is, I'm pretty sure young cats would know based on Dave Chappelle alone.
If they watch Dave Chappelle, because
Well,
Dave Chappelle only ran for
that was one of the more notable sketches of the show.
But even Dave Chappelle, when did that come on?
Yeah, so you
That was 2000 from 2000 to 2003.
Okay,
So that'd be like
so
kids been 13 years
so-
old.
Yeah.
you know, kids of a certain age
Yeah.
still like they're probably in their teens by now.
Yeah.
And they probably wouldn't even know Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, they're like, who's Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, no, but when you're saying a kid who's probably 22, oh no, that's right, 22 if they were born in
Right.
90.
Yeah, they'd be like, who's Dave Chappelle? Well, they know Dave Chappelle, but they didn't watch the Chappelle show.
Oh,
And that's
shit.
assuming they
Okay.
know Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, we don't have an audience yet. We don't know who's been picking.
Yeah.
But if somebody ever comes, well, we'll thumbnail this, and hopefully that'll pick up some views. Any kid out there that doesn't know who Prince is, do your research. The guy was an incredible artist. But go find the Dave Chappelle show. Ask your friends. I'm sure you have a sibling or something, or any older peers that has a copy of the Dave Chappelle DVD. I want to say download it. I don't want to encourage that.
No, stream it instead.
Or stream it on Netflix. Yeah, is Dave Chappelle on Netflix? Chappelle show on Netflix?
Probably not.
Probably.
No.
Comedy Central. Find it somewhere. Find the Dave Chappelle Prince skit. It's one of the more iconic
Dave Chappelle skits,
episodes.
for
And if
sure.
you don't know Dave Chappelle, then Google Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's fucking hilarious.
Of course, for a young kid, that's just a history lesson, right? Because they have to read through all that shit, and they don't want to read that.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying like read up on Prince, but look up their music, look up footage of them and stuff like that. But definitely watch the episode because that's so quotable. I mean,
I work with this 19-year-old girl,
yeah.
and she didn't know who Prince was.
Yeah.
And basically, she was like, "Who is he?" I'm like, "You don't know who Prince is?" She's like, some rapper," is what she said. And it's like, I'm not even gonna tell you because you don't deserve to know how great he was.
Oh, dude, remember back in the day when you were like, when you're, I guess, a coworker or whatever, who came up with the statistic that if they didn't know who Jean-Claude Van Damme was,
No, that was me. Yeah, I came up with that statistic.
yeah, they were born before 1990. Chances are. Do you remember my score when I asked how many girls in a row?
It got pretty high.
13.
Right.
13 random. Some were random. Some were like I kind of knew.
Yeah.
That I asked them who Jean-Claude Van Damme was.
Yeah.
And none of them knew.
Yeah,
and
it's a
they
statistic.
were all born after 1990.
Exactly. That's how you know.
The one girl who was born in 90 was my cousin's ex, but then I had known that she had older siblings, so I kind of sort of knew coming in that she would probably know who he was.
Yeah.
But then when I asked the other 13 girls, it was like I knew basically almost nothing about them or their family background, or I didn't know them at all.
Yeah.
And none of them knew. So
Exactly.
I'm wondering if, like, what statistic we would have
For
in
Prince.
terms of for Prince, like, what age would a girl be who she would, where she would definitely not know.
What age would a generation be?
Yeah.
Where they
if you had to
wouldn't know?
guess.
Yeah.
So for Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's 1990.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think if you were to ask a girl or a guy? Let's do both genders.
Yeah.
I would say 95.
Really?
After 95?
Really?
Yeah, after 95. So
That'd be
but
like
then-
20, 21 right now, right?
Yeah. But keep in mind, when we were doing this question statistical thing, we didn't read.
Yeah.
Twitter wasn't what it is today. Social media.
Twitter,
It still
YouTube.
sort of was, but it wasn't like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, as
Prevalent.
as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you ask who is Jean-Claude Van Damme, he was still relatively not so much in the spotlight, where a Prince dying today is like a big announcement in the Twitter sphere in the world of social media. So my thing is, if you were to ask somebody who Prince is, and obviously they say, oh yeah, I heard he died, they have to like not know about him prior to him dying as well. So, you know what I mean? Like when you ask a girl like, oh yeah, I don't know who Jean-Claude Van Damme is, but he's still alive. But it's like prior to him, to the news. Did you know anything about Prince? Do you know who Prince is? So if what I'm getting at is statistically, if you were to ask somebody that question and they don't know, chances are they were born before '95.
Okay.
And that would be a consistent. Or
So as in to say, almost every North American person born after '95
will not know who Prince will be.
will not know who Prince is.
Yeah. Not every, what I'm saying.
No, but the
statistically,
majority.
chances, yeah.
Yeah.
Same game as the Jean-Claude Van Damme. So I encourage anyone out there listening, or you guys, try to ask somebody you know that's
of that
95.
age. Like, can you name me a
Basically
Prince
21
song?
and under. Yeah, ask them who Prince is and be like, yeah, and see how consistently you'll get. And I don't know. And well, we're not really making.
That's sad though, hey? Is it not?
Not really, because I mean, fame is it's a funny thing. Like if you're not in the spotlight, some people. There are people
That's
out there
true.
who are like, up and comers.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's more of like a generational thing too. Like Prince was huge in the '80s.
Yeah. There's a chance a person who's like in their early 20s who might not even know who Justin Bieber is. This might be covered, right? It all depends on where you grow up, what do
music you listen to.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
What people around you talk about.
Yeah.
It's still possible to not know prominent figures like that. So, yeah, no, it is sad in a way that they don't get to appreciate the history of that and the impact of that artist. But
I bet if you played them 1999, they'd know. Like, oh, I know this song.
Oh yeah,
that's Prince.
Or that's what's the track called in the Batman movie?
Oh,
the Tim Burton, where they're all fucking dancing and
Jack
Nicholson's doing his little fucking little jingle thing. That was the most out of place song in a movie I've ever seen. Like Prince in a Batman movie, Tim Burton directed. It's just kind of like, what? I remember being a kid and watching that movie, because that movie came out when I was 3. I would have watched it when I was maybe 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
And I remember thinking that scene was just weird. The whole movie was weird.
Yeah.
But imagine being a kid and you're just you don't really know how to distinguish exactly what is normal and what isn't normal, or what's out of place and what is, especially from a directorial movie perspective. But even as a 5-year-old, I was just kind of like, this is a weird song to be playing in a movie like this, right? Because the whole thing is Danny Elfman score. It's got this dark tone.
Yeah, and then
all
of a sudden Prince pops off.
Yeah, you hear the Prince track, which is not a bad track. I'm just saying it's just a weird choice, and to have weird ass Jack Nicholson fucking dancing to it and Joker makeup, it's just it's the weirdest thing to ever see on paper, and on screen. So, but no, rest in peace, Prince.
Prince, man, for sure.
Hope you're in a better place. I hope you're banging bitches in in heaven,
in the lakes of the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Let's play. Hey, turn the microphone forward. Let's play some of this footage.
Check Prince, and then you got this cat standing behind you, and he's getting close to you, and his hands is out like this. You don't really want to be bent over in front of a cat like that, you know what I'm saying? Prince was incredible. You got a towel, man? It's kind of hot out here, man. Why don't you purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka?
Good.
In your face, Charlie Murphy. Good. Good hustle. Yo, man, I'm not on your team.
He's humping a basketball.
I heard that he actually could play ball, for reals. He played in high school and all that stuff.
Have you seen his high school basketball photo?
No.
Really? He's got the biggest hair.
His crazy afro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This guy could apparently really play basketball.
Oh, well, when I watched that skit, even though when Charlie Murphy was telling it, I didn't doubt that he was telling the truth.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised some of it was exaggerated, maybe the whole blouses thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the essence of Prince being a baller, because it's not shocking. He's a black guy. Guys, no offense to the stereotype, are good basketball players.
There's a story that I read. Do you guys remember Carlos Boozer?
No.
He used to be a basketball player, but apparently Prince had his house renovated, and so he rented Carlos Boozer's house. But when he was there, and he was only there for a couple of months or whatever, if at that. But this guy renovated everything, like renovated, and to the point where like the gates on the outside had Prince's symbol on it. Like, and this guy's just visiting. He's just renting some dude's house. And Carlos Boozer was choked, man. He was like, man, I was about to go in there and just whoop this little guy's ass. And then all of a sudden, he writes me a check for $1 million, and he goes, that should cover the cost for you to replace everything back to how it was. Just baller like that. What? It's like, there you go. Just everything. I arranged the way I wanted. Like, the way he wanted it was like, he redid everything. Knocked down some walls. Fucking some guy's house. Like, basically me staying at your house and redesigning everything to my liking. And then giving you money. Be like, you can put it the way you want it again. That's Prince. Yeah,
Holy
man. He was a baller like that, man.
I have never heard that story
Yeah,
before.
and that there was also another story about how he was in like a music festival, and I think the director of art for Vans was there, and they just so happened to have a random purple couch, and for the festivities for skateboarders or whatever. And all of a sudden, he goes out of nowhere, man. These two big dudes, man. They come in, they pick up the couch, and we were like, "Yo, man, what the fuck? What are you doing?" And he goes, "Prince wants this couch." So they're like, "If Prince wants a couch, man, Prince gets the couch." You can't really say no to Prince. But that whole one time you'd hear all these crazy stories about like Prince, how he was a very private person too, and so every little story that you hear about him, it's almost like a myth, it's like this one time Prince, like I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff really did happen, man. Like,
I'm definitely going to be doing my Prince research tonight.
Yeah, man, definitely read up on a lot of stuff. Yeah, man, he's a pretty cool
I know
guy.
that he was notorious for like with the ladies and stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
he got some.
Carmen Electra, example. I mean, I think they were dating when she was like 17 or 18 years old at the time or something. She was like really young when he was like, all up in that. Maybe even 16. I don't know. 16 is legal consent in the States, so I wouldn't. In some parts of the States, so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's Carmen Electra, man. But I remember. Prince. Like when I found out, I was at work.
Yeah.
So it would have been when he died, 21st. It would have been the 26th. So this was 2 days ago.
Yeah,
Sunday. Yeah, it was on Friday. And my coworker was just like, "Yeah, Prince died." I was like, "What? What do you mean Prince? Like you just you just can't fathom the words. You're like, "What, Prince dead? Like what do you mean?" And but I was shocked. I mean, I can't say I was shedding tears, but it's just you do feel empathy, and condolences go to his family and the friends and the people who knew him best, and he'll definitely be missed.
For sure, man.
I'm sure the Prince biopic is going to be on the way soon.
Yeah, 2016 is kind of, Alan Rickman's dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like
David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Did it die early
too?
this year or late last year?
I think it was early this year, man.
Oh,
It was like January.
Shit.
Surprise! First casualty of the year.
Hans Gruber, man.
Hans Gruber.
Yeah,
man.
Get me the detonators.
Yo, Hans Gruber, please don't shoot me. Oh man.
Oh no, you're one of them. You're one of them.
Yo, man. Alan Rickman's the bomb.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to be like the reason why you have a German accent is because you can't, because that's your native tongue and you can't, So to speak in a completely American accent would imply that you don't actually speak German, that you just do accents, right?
Yeah.
So, but no, that still goes down as one of the greatest accents, villains of all time. I mean, Hans Gruber will be missed. David Bowie will be missed as well, and now I'm sure Prince and David Bowie are making pancakes together.
Playing ball,
serving them, and bathing in the pure waters of Lake Minnetonka, and just schooling cats up and down, and we love you, Prince, and see you on the other side. I don't know how to give a death shout out for sure. But the next death I want to get into though is Chyna, good old Chyna.
Yeah, man, good old Chyna.
Man, this one is a little bit more personal for me. I mean, Joanne Laurer,
Yeah.
Never knew.
Laurie.
Laura.
Laura.
I never needed to pronounce her full-on name, but you know, it was always Chyna. But for those of you who don't know who Chyna is, and for those of you who do, who will be listening to this and can kind of recapture this information, Chyna was one of the main divas, especially during the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Founding member of DX, which were also prominent characters for the Attitude Era. She was like the first like woman to hold the WWF Championship, even for just like they had to do a reverse decision, or I think it was like a contender spot or something. But no, she wrestled with the best, and it's her story is kind of sad.
It is, man.
You know what I mean, in terms of how she got kicked out of the company or fired. And,
Yeah. And
and
her
what she
life
turned
afterwards.
what she turned into. Because I saw her interviews. I saw her drug induced, you know, comments.
Dr.
And all that
Drew
stuff.
or whatever.
The sex
Celebrity
tapes,
rehabs.
you know, the sorry ass celebrity reality shows
Yeah.
and stuff. But let's take a minute to remember the good stuff about her. First of all, I remember before Attitude Era like exploded, like just right when it was starting, because she played that bodyguard role for Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember seeing this big ass chick with like the fat cheek face, and I remember thinking like, oh, this girl's like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like every time I would see her, and she was always like that guy, like interfered into their matches and stuff, and we'd be like, you know, they were the heels, right? They were all heels, and she always played that role of cheating for the guys and everything. And I wasn't a fan of DX at that time when it was in that incarnation, and I wasn't a fan of her. And when Attitude Era was exploding, I was kind of like done with wrestling for that first year.
Yeah.
Until it was like at its peak. Then I came back to it. And then, I mean, there's a lot of things I can talk about in the Attitude Era, but I'm just going to talk Chyna specifically. So I remember coming back to Attitude Era, to wrestling in general. And by that point, she is then with the corporation.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm on my year-long hiatus from WWF, and she's sporting a completely different look.
Yeah.
Like, she got those cheekbones, like, those cheeks, like, surgically reconstructed. Her boobs were reconstructed. She was wearing more skimpier outfits.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, muscular built women in general they just don't do it for me. I mean, they're not supposed to do it for you. And when I say that, I mean, I'm actually, like, turned off by it. Mm-hmm. But seeing that incarnation of her in that, like, she was, like, her whole body was, like, more, like, you know, slick and everything. It was femme fatale, but she just had muscles. Like, she had a back, she had muscles, but then she had, like, you know, a normal body. She was just, like, built. Yeah. She wasn't like those bodybuilder chicks that are, like, more, you know what I mean? Like,
six-pack.
Yeah, like, 8 biceps in one arm sort of thing. Like, she was, like, fit enough as a woman, but not, like, manly enough. And I was, like, at that point, I was actually getting a crush on her. I went
like,
from, like, being disgusted.
Yeah.
I remember from being disgusted, like, oh, who's this fucking, you know, fat cheek, little muscular chick, to all of a sudden, like, oh, this girl's hot. Like, you know, because within a year, you know, she had all that work done. And usually when women go through plastic surgery, they get more uglier. Mm-hmm. In her case, she got hotter. Yeah. But then she did more after that, and she got fucked up. But what I noticed is when people try to do the Angelina Jolie look, like do the big lips and do the whole Botox thing, that's when they get all fucked up. All she had to do was just shave those cheeks and, you know, wear a little bit of more eyeliner and lipstick, and she was hot. Yeah. And I remember seeing her, like I said, she had those, like, fucking, like, almost S&M outfits. You know, I have this, like, latex leather skimpy, like, fetish and stuff, even at that age. And every time I would see her come out, she would, you know, go through the ropes, you know, be lifting her legs and shit, and I'd be like, whew, Chyna, man, Chyna. And I'm sure there were guys in the closet thinking the same thing. But then, you know, for the most part, I was kind of alone. They were like, "Oh, Chyna, you're fucking gay, man. If you liked her," I was just like, "No, man. Like, you're fucking gay."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I still love me my Sable and my Sunnies and my fucking Litas and shit. Yeah. No, I'm just saying Chyna was hot. Like, what were your thoughts on Chyna?
You know what? I enjoyed her as an entertainer. You know, she played the perfect heel. I like that she found an identity or a character for herself even after DX and the corporation. I think one time she was with like Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero, just getting
you know?
into that Latino
You know what I
heat.
mean? Didn't they have like
Mamacita,
a
they
love,
had that-
you know, a love
yeah,
story and all that
yeah.
stuff? So that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but yeah, China was dope. Did I find her hot? You know, no, I definitely.
So
was
you were one of those guys. That
Yeah,
didn't
no,
find
no,
her out, yeah.
I know. I'm sure there's appeal to girls like that. You know,
Yeah.
she is pretty. You know,
At that time,
just not my
at that
yeah,
time.
just
yeah,
at that
yeah.
time. Yeah, but she's
And no,
you
and
know.
I did understand if people didn't find her attractive. But
Well,
for me, it
compared
was
to
like,
like Sable,
yeah,
like
by comparison.
yeah, by comparison, I was like, what China, like
Yeah, China who? Yeah.
or Trish Stratus? Woo.
Oh, Trish. Oof.
Yo.
She had the perfect fucking tits.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always knew China's tits were fake, but
Stacy Keibler.
ooh, Stacy, legs
Legs for-
smaller tits, but legs. I'm a lower half type of guy myself.
I
And I don't even like fake-
Wilson.
Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson.
Yeah, I forgot about her.
Fuck yeah, that's right, Tori Wilson.
Yo, man, but
Well, there's lots of on the
divas,
tip of my- on the
WWE
tip of my-
divas. But no, China kind of paved the way for a lot of them, especially the, you know, I know like they're the old ones, you know, those May and
Mae Young and Moolah.
yeah,
that's
the
right.
really old. Apart from them,
Yeah,
China was the kind of the next coming, you
because
know,
she wrestled with the boys and
with the
girls.
boys when she had that
You know, she-
physicality. Yeah.
Remember her beef with Jericho? She had a beef with
Okay,
like
yeah,
Jericho.
she did have the.
I wasn't a
beef
fan of the
with-
Jet Jarrett storyline and
Yeah.
constantly going back and forth, hitting her, smashing guitars on her
Guitars
back like
over
10
her head.
times a
Yeah,
week
yeah,
and
yeah.
shit. But her feud with Jericho was pretty cool because Jericho was still coming off of WCW and he was like that whiny
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Jericho. Like,
Y2J.
you know, where's my title shot? And then like, you know, it was the perfect match because he himself was like a male diva.
Yeah.
So to put him up against China, I mean, those were pretty classic moments and stuff. So, but
Yeah, no, China, man.
yeah, and let's talk about her release from the WWF.
Why did she? Well, you know, at some point, people get released from the WWF, right?
Well, are you not aware of what happened?
No, I'm not.
What?
I stopped watching wrestling. I think.
No, but I thought you were still part of that era because this was still coming off the Attitude Era. What was going down?
Yeah, dude, I was already kind of phasing out.
Okay, for the story goes for those who don't know, Triple H and China were dated for the longest time.
Okay, yeah. All right.
And then he starts dating
Stephanie McMahon.
Stephanie McMahon, the boss's daughter.
Like in real life.
Well, it was a storyline
Yeah.
that eventually became a real life thing.
Hmm.
I mean, there's so much detail and so much sides of the story from from all three ends that you can get into, but I'll just give the gist of it. So apparently the on-screen romance became a real romance, and that pushed out China
Oh no.
in the relationship. So she got bumped down in terms of like her card of the wrestling ladder and all that stuff.
Oh.
And then it got to the point where, again, there are so many versions of the story. I'm gonna go with the one that I generally believe. Stephanie being the boss's daughter and who was uncomfortable with, China being the ex-girlfriend of her new boyfriend and husband to be, was like, you're out. Even though China wasn't doing anything to like get in their way.
Yeah.
Just because of that
Oh.
history alone, Stephanie like basically got her fired.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's one
man.
of those things where it's like that was the start of her downward spiral.
Yeah, because she got into a lot of different things.
Yeah, it's like mental
afterwards, man.
breakdowns and stuff. And then after that, I mean, X-Pac, who was actually one of my favorite
Yeah.
wrestlers, definitely one of my favorite members of
They
DX
went
at
out
the
too.
time. Yeah,
They went out too.
became sloppy seconds for her.
Fuck.
And I don't mean to use that in a disrespectful way.
Yeah, but
that's
like-
what basically what happened because they had a very tumultuous relationship. Like they would break up and they got engaged, and I've seen interviews of X-Pac, aka Sean Waltman, but I call him X-Pac.
Yeah.
Basically bashing her, for the relationship and stuff. But it's a two-way street. I
Yeah,
mean, they
for
dated
su-
each
for
other.
sure.
I'm sure he wasn't in his best state of mind as well.
Yeah.
But I've seen lots of like post wrestling career interviews of wrestlers, former WWF and WCW and ECW, and I've seen where Stone Cold's doing the interview or he's the interviewee, and same thing, X-Pac's doing the interview and China's doing the interview, and it's always like all this negativity towards each other and all that stuff. But I watched the sex tape actually. Yeah, I seen the sex tape between. I actually did my thing on that sex tape because it was always a fantasy of mine to fucking
For
get
China.
with China.
Yep.
And to be an X-Pac fan, I was just like, man, I'm basically X-Pac. That fucking thing. And then it wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen, but then again, neither was the Paris Hilton one, because that was all hyped up to be this crazy, and she's like basically a fucking frigid in that video. But no, China got down, and it's hot at times, but I can't say I'm a huge fan of that video. But in it, overall, the point is, it's just sad to go from like one of the more prominent female divas of WWF, and then all of a sudden, like a couple years down the road, you're making a sex tape with the fucking drug addict like X-Pac. Who, like I said, I'm actually a fan of, and was one of my favorite. X-Pac was actually the guy that got me back into WWF. We'll get in. I don't want to get into that, but and then it just became worse for her, like more mental breakdowns and more reality shows and more like actual porn, where she's to the point where she was denied several times the WWF Hall of Fame
because of this.
Because her name is more synonymous now with her porn than her WWF career. Like not in the way that she's more iconic in the porn industry, but I guess the company's more concerned that if they Googled Chyna, then that shit would come up, and then WWF's PG now, so.
Yeah, definitely.
It's sad. I think
Hulk Hogan has never ever wrestled for us before. Yeah. They erased his history pretty much.
You can't erase a Hulk Hogan history, and you can't erase a Chyna history in my book. But it's sad because I think, like a Michael Jackson, I think she's done more good than bad. She's come from, if you read up on her history, like where her family background was, like the abuse she got as a child, and the segregation from her parents, and to end up like this, but to rise from that and be with one of the biggest, WWF, not just female, but one of the biggest WWF stars of that era. Yeah. And then downward spiral. And I think, like I said, porn aside, I think we should all pay respect to a person like Chyna, because not a lot of females out there, doesn't matter what your profession is, but especially entertainment. Yeah. That isn't, even though WWF had sexual content, and she did have that image, she had amazing feats that were beyond her sexuality, which is the wrestling stuff, the first female intercontinental champion.
Intercontinental. I remember that. I remember that.
But I think, like I said, like a Michael Jackson figure, she's done more good than bad, and it's just sad that we have to. Like wrestlers are dropping like flies left and right from their long-term steroid abuse and stuff.
Yeah, man.
This is no different. I think she died from like some drug-related thing. It always tends to happen, but
wrestlers are. It's funny like that. Like their post-career lives are really like rough. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of them, like 90%, of them turn that way. And it's super sad because at one point they're like physically dominating, the peak of their physical form and their artistry, and then like a few years removed from that, you're like your health starts to go down. You start, start abusing a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs. But do you guys watch that DDP yoga guy?
No. I know what DDP is. I've never seen his yoga.
Oh no, that DDP stuff, man. He's helped several wrestlers.
Jake the Snake.
Yeah. Scott Hall. He's helped out.
I've seen the Scott Hall ESPN.
Yeah, man. Those guys. He looked rough, man. He was like
slurry and fat, and he's like basically on 11 meds and stuff.
Yeah, man. And he was like slowly kind of killing himself, and then he got in DDP. Diamond Dallas Page, an old wrestler again, got in contact with him. He's like, hey, man, I want to help you, man. And he kind of helps. He uses yoga / like wrestling to kind of, give empowerment to the people who need it, Because a lot of times after wrestling and you have nothing else to do, because their schedules are nuts, man. Professional wrestlers are on the road for like 300 and
300 plus days out of
365.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's touring different cities every other day.
Yeah.
And then going international. Once. It's crazy schedule. So yeah, once you get removed from that, you're like, oh, I have nothing to do, and I'm in pain because of all the injuries that I've suffered. Yeah. And that's why now you see ex-wrestlers are now getting their own podcasts or doing their own like TV shows about hunting or whatever it is Stone Cold does these days, you know.
Well,
or
the
Shawn
podcast,
Michaels.
I mean, that's what we do. It's such a great outlet.
It's an outlet, man.
To share your stories and your experiences and your thoughts on what's going on, and you know, this is why we do it. I mean, we're not where I wanted to be at yet. You know, what were you at 6 months into this?
Yeah.
But you know, only because you know our schedules haven't been lining up. But I mean, it's for those out there that are getting into us. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, it's if you're passionate about doing it, and if you have a lot of things to say, I mean, this is a good outlet to do it. But for those who love just listening, I mean, this is where you give up and comers a chance, and you know, and write your comments and get interactive so that you can get your thoughts in if you don't want to be in front of the microphone and camera and all that stuff. But yeah, like I've listened to a lot of those, you know, ex-wrestlers on podcasts. I didn't get a chance to see too much of Roddy Piper's.
Yeah.
And he was fuck, rest in peace to that guy too. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's right. He
passed
is.
away.
He's dead as well, man.
Yeah, Roddy Piper passed away. I think it was
Roddy Piper.
last year.
I think it was last year too.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
recent. Cause yeah, but they have like the really craziest, pretty interesting stories, like ex-wrestlers.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, that's
And what I noticed too is because like, you know, the whole fame thing, like Hulk Hogan is the worst in terms of like his addiction to fame, because he does everything to stay relevant and stay in front of the camera, where you know he doesn't want to hang it up. He'll create any reality show just to keep, because that's all he knows is looking and addressing the camera. And it's such a infectious thing for wrestlers, particularly because that's their TV time. Doing the, like you said, the multiple city stuff. Sometimes they do 3 cities a night. 3 cities a night.
how do you even
Imagine
do that, man?
Whereas like an actor who falls out of the limelight, they're not in front of the camera all the time. Like, you know, they do their shots and then they get their month break or whatever. Or if they're really busy, they're doing like whatever, 3 movies a month. But then, you know, they're not constantly in front of the camera. And
They have
like
their
all the
downtime
time,
too,
you know?
man, yeah.
Like the wrestlers, their job is to be on camera and talk to the audience and wrestle in front of the audience every night to every other night.
Yeah.
You know?
No off days, very seldom.
Yeah.
Very seldom.
So to have that gone, you know, like you don't know what else to do and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's natural that they would turn to drugs or porn or some form of entertainment. Like I said, Hulk Hogan was a hero of mine growing up, but the person that he's revealed to truly be in more recent years is like, this guy, sick of this guy, you know?
Yeah, man. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
But you know, that's a thing though too. Like segueing from that too is like retiring and like Kobe. Kobe is a perfect example of that because like
We'll get into that in a second. I want to hear. Danny's
sorry.
thoughts
Yeah,
on
Danny.
China. Like you didn't get a chance to talk about China. Like, how did you feel about her death and her life? Was she hot? Would you have banged her at her peak that I was talking about?
At that peak, no. I
Yeah.
remember that episode when she came in with her implants.
you're like, whoa, something's different.
Something was different. We were young, but I remember like what Triple H and Shawn Michaels were like.
I seen the footage of that, but I didn't see the
I
live
saw that live,
episode. Yeah.
And they were like, you know, the whole looking into it, and like it
Right.
was obvious. The only thing that made her hot was her tits.
Yeah.
So
And you're
I
a tit
didn't-
guy though.
I am a tit guy,
Yeah.
but I'd prefer tits that are real.
Yeah.
They look nice. I will say that you said that her sex tape was like your fantasy come true.
Well, just to see her in like I didn't want her to turn to that life, but I would have loved to
Yeah.
have like banged her. But then to see her,
Yeah.
because like when you, sorry, this is more adult content. When you jerk off to like a music video or something like that, you're just fantasizing that person because they're not actual porn people, but you're jerking off and thinking porn images. That's all you have with China when you're, you know, watching her in a wrestling context. But to actually see her in full-on sex
action.
mode, in action, that's what I mean by fantasy.
You have something to go
It's not my
with
fantasy
now.
to see her in porn.
Yeah.
Because that's like not a life that you would want for one of your idols and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was a
Someone you
fantasy to
admire.
see her naked and to see her having sex. But and it would have been more better if it wasn't an intentional video. But the fact that it was kind of sad because that's her way of trying to stay in the limelight. and to have to do it with Sean Waltman of all people,
Yeah.
kind of sucks in that aspect. But in the terms of like to see her naked and having sex, yeah, it was a fantasy of mine, and I got down with it. But yeah, you were saying like,
Right. So that fantasy, I'd say the only time that she got hot, like as a woman, like as a sexual woman, was when she was one of her movies. She was
don't say
basically-
She-Hulk.
I have to. It was She-Hulk.
Oh my god.
She was in
It was
I never
She-Hulk?
saw it, but I'm like, what?
No,
really?
it was a porn parody, and
Oh, I
she
see.
was dressed up as She-Hulk
Oh, so
And
like
I was
in
like-
green.
in green and purple, and I was like, "Is that China? Oh my god! Oh my god!
It is
you know,
China.
Like,
Yeah.
but beyond that, no. Like, what made her iconic was that she was more like one of the boys
Yeah.
rather than a diva. I didn't think of her as a diva because she
No,
was
me
a bit
neither.
too mannish.
It was like suplexing dudes.
Yeah, like she was bigger than a lot. You know,
like
She's
the
definitely
Rey
bigger than X-Pac.
Mysterio.
exactly. Rey Mysterio, like all the Mexican, the Japanese guys, like
Yeah.
she was bigger than all of them. So, you know, she was iconic in a way where it sets a generation that girls can be powerful. She empowered women, and
That's
then WWF sexualized
Sexualized
that
them.
as they have to
Yeah.
in order to get ratings and shit. So she could have sent a better message, but it got lost with how the times were. So I mean,
Yeah. Well, I don't think it got lost. I'm just saying like that was basically all the divas.
yeah.
You know, whether you consider her a diva or not, all had to be sexualized
Well,
unofficially.
just the term diva. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, and exactly, just the term the diva alone was basically sexualizing their
Yeah.
figures. So, but like I said, even though hers was very obviously revealing, like I said, I always saw her beyond that because, like, when you were watching a Trish Stratus Lita fight, you know, you're there to watch. The general audience is there to see a cat fight and see them strip down and do, you know, have their legs wrapped around each other. When you watch China fight,
Yeah.
you weren't thinking of like, oh, I can't. Even though like I found her sexually attractive, you weren't there to be like, oh, I can't wait for her to fucking look sexy fighting someone. You were like, oh, I want to see if she could beat Chris Jericho or
Yeah.
whatever and shit like that. So, I never saw her as being sexually exploited as the other divas because she was simply beyond that. She had the image, but she didn't have to be there. She could have worn fucking full-on pantsuit and wrestled and
Yeah.
would have made an impact, you know. But yeah, I agree with both of what you guys are saying, and for those out there who don't feel the same and felt like she deserved to die, well, go fuck yourself,
Yeah, man.
you know, because nobody deserves to die.
Like,
you know,
especially
unless
like
you're
that.
Charles Manson or some shit.
Who, by the way, is still alive, isn't
Who's
he?
still alive in jail, fucking still spewing his bullshit about like how he wants to fucking kill people and shit like that. But yeah, shit. It says here she was born in '69, so the same age as Triple H. I always saw her. I guess Wikipedia is not the most accurate source or whatever, but then I was always under the impression she was born in '72 because I always saw her born in '70. I'm good at memorizing people's birth years and stuff. I don't know why. It's like one of those useless skills that I have.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, you were saying into retirement.
Yeah, retirement, man. It's like
Kobe.
yeah, I don't know. Did you guys watch anyone
his
ended
last
up
game? I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to see his last game. No.
Wow, his last
You
game
can
was
enlighten us on what happened on the last.
his
game.
last game was off the charts, man. It was almost like too good to be true, and then he dropped 60 points. 60 points. And
What was his record? 81.
81 is his
81 points.
record,
Yeah.
which is also crazy. It's the second highest.
Second highest. Walt
in an
Chamberlain was what,
NBA,
100.
101 or 100,
yeah.
100. But that's insane. And for a guy who's 38, 39 to
yeah,
drop
38.
60 points is it's pretty wild, right? And he's going up against, he might not have been going up against, like the Golden State Warriors or whatever, but he was going against Utah Jazz, and people were saying, "Oh, like these guys are not even playing defense and yada yada yada." But even if they weren't playing defense, you still have to manage to shoot,
Yeah.
60 points worth of shots.
Yeah,
And,
that's right.
still some skill to that, But it was his last game, and he was just saying how People were saying how there was a party that's supposed to be, held after the game and all that stuff, and he didn't go because the next day he kept on to his routine, which is wake up and
Are you changing the shots?
to wake up every day and just keep on doing the routine that you've been doing for the last 20 years. And he goes, that's he read up on retirement, and it's important for you to keep busy and to have that routine, not just like, oh, now what, right? Because it's a whole different life. Life after work, shouldn't stop. It should continue. And I think that's the issue with, people in the entertainment industry, someone who's in the spotlight, like wrestlers like that. When they stop, they have no clue what to do with the rest of their lives. But you just gotta hit it up. But Kobe, shout out to Kobe, man. I just realized that watching that game, I couldn't help but feel a little nostalgic and super like, like, damn, I'm getting old as well. Like, I started watching Kobe grade 6. Like, I distinctly remember grade 6. Like, I was, getting into basketball. Like, I've always loved ball, and Kobe was always that guy, the young buck going against Michael Jordan, putting up a fight, from LA, brash, 18-year-old. I was like, yo, man, this.
He was actually from Philly.
He's from Philly.
Yeah.
He was from Philly, but
he was Laker from start to finish, was he not?
he was drafted by the Hornets in '97 or '96, and
Oh,
then he
okay.
got traded right away. They're like, we haven't. That's apparently what motivated him to become Kobe Bryant. Was like, we have no use for you here in Charlotte. Like, we're gonna trade you to the LA Lakers for Vladdy Divac or something like that.
Right.
And so it just so happens that 20 years Kobe stick to one team. It might not have been the prettiest.
I mean, he only won 4 championships with the
yeah,
Lakers.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, 5.
was it 5?
Yeah. Well, no. Is it 5? 5, because Jordan
5.
had 6.
Right,
He was
right.
one behind
right,
Jordan.
Right, that's right.
Always one behind Jordan. But Kobe Bryant, you will be definitely sorely missed. Another polarizing figure in basketball. I've always loved Kobe, man, because I took summer vacations in California like constantly, and so I grew up again, and half here, half in Los Angeles, like being part of that culture. Like, everyone in LA loved the Lakers. It's like,
Oh yeah.
if you're a Clippers fan, then you're a fake LA like fan. You're not a real basketball fan if you're down there, right? Because that's how big the Lakers were and are still. Even the Lakers suck, by the way. They were
This
probably
year,
the
in
worst
the more recent
in
years,
their worst record in their history. But yet, you still had these diehard fans wearing purple and gold, and all that is from Kobe for the last 20 years, really.
Right. Yeah.
He just put it on his back, but he will be missed.
With him gone now, the Lakers.
They need someone.
The Lakers, as well as the Celtics, have always had like the top 2 dynasties
For sure.
because it's always the East Coast West Coast rivalry
Yeah.
scenario and the stuff. So well before Kobe joined the Lakers, the Lakers
Had already
had
that.
always, but to have him in the modern era is like you're basically you're looking at it as the Kobe era.
Yeah.
So even though it's sad to see him go out, it's good to see him go out in a 60-point game,
Mm-hmm.
but overall finishing last,
Yeah.
for your team, not the best way to go. But I'm sure his overall career will outweigh that.
Oh, 100%.
Like by a landslide.
100%.
So it's not one of those things you look at it like, oh man, he didn't, like they finished last this season, he's leaving. But it's like, well, he won fucking 5 championships.
He's
You know what I
literally
mean?
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
He's broken records and
broken
stuff.
everything.
He holds current records.
Holds current records,
But-
broken everything else. Like, if you gotta top this guy, you have to beat 60 points at your last game. That's it.
Yeah.
To be
Jordan didn't have 60 points in his last game.
no one did except
Jordan
Kobe
had
Bryant.
63 points at his on a peak game or something.
Yeah.
At the
When
peak
he's
of his
firing
career,
in all
not his
cylinders.
Final, but not at his final.
Not when you're beat up.
Yeah.
Kobe was so tired, man. He was saying in the press conference, like, all my life people kept on saying, pass the ball, Kobe. It's like, tonight they were just like, take the shot. So he goes, that was kind of weird. That was kind of weird to hear. It's funny though. Kobe is probably gonna be the last of that, superstar. You know, apart from Jordan, if you're looking at paper wise, he's the closest to Michael that really anyone has
For sure.
ever been. So
I mean, I've always personally been an Iverson fan simply because I just relate to him more.
For sure, I love.
But
Iverson.
when you talk like straight basketball overall, like Kobe's the guy without a doubt.
Without a doubt, man.
Yeah, you can't. I just wonder how his peers are reacting and all that stuff. Like,
Well,
I'm sure, like from a rival standpoint, like, we don't have to deal with this guy. Like, I don't have to get schooled by this guy anymore. I can now rise above him. But I'm sure people that respect him in his community are probably like throwing him the craziest, like throwing gifts at him. Probably buying him cars and stuff.
Well,
like, oh, sorry, they're starting to lose you, Kobe. You bought him a Lamborghini and shit. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, that's the thing with, he announced his retirement early in the season, right? Or November-ish. So there was a build-up. So every time, especially his last couple months, every time it was he played in the city, it would be the last time Kobe was in Boston, or the last time Kobe played the Knicks. So it'd be like the last time of everything, and he'd always have a package, like a video package of like the players talking. It's like Kobe, blah blah blah. He's like, I grew up watching this kid, like him, like I just realized like a whole lot of them grew up watching Kobe play when we grew up watching Kobe play.
Right.
And so everything that this guy did was, as Kobe did, that lethal, crazy assassin who wanted to win above all things. Above all things is win. Obsessed with everything, winning, and in anything. Apparently, he would be the most competitive guy in life, man. Like, you can put a task in front of him, and if he's against you, he's gonna want to beat you. And I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting too. Like Doc Rivers, I think he's the coach for LA Clippers now. He goes, I'd like to say, I'd say that I'd miss him, but I would be lying. I'm not gonna miss Kobe Bryant. Like, he goes, coaching against him, it was one of the toughest things that I've ever have to do. Like, how do you try to beat this guy? Like, his one objective is to kill your team, and basically you have to try and stop him. And so he goes, how do you prepare for something like that? Really, like, because if Kobe wanted to, he would just go, right?
Yeah.
There's no way you can throw anything at him. He'll just do it. But yeah, Kobe, who, by the way, had a reputation for being an asshole, like an actual butthole, and like very hard to deal with, isolated himself from a lot of players, because he had that mentality, like in order to be the best, you have to do certain things,
That's right.
You got to look at teammates as just, pawns to, instruments that you can use to win. But although anyway, Kobe, that's.
Well, speaking of Kobe, let's get the microphone 4 on again. Does anybody remember this track? I should have timed that better.
So that's Kobe Bryant, guys.
That's Kobe Bryant rapping with Brian McKnight over a Brian McKnight track. I remember first coming up like, what, Kobe rapping? And it was kind of, I don't know if he wrote that. And it wasn't the greatest bars ever spit. But then it was one of those things I'm like, man, this guy can do anything. Like,
Iverson rap.
Yeah, more
Iverson,
controversial.
Iverson
Surprisingly, as a big Iverson fan, I haven't really listened to his fucking full-on album or anything.
I don't know if it was a full-blown album, but
no, he did. He released a full-blown album.
Full-blown album,
but
right?
it wasn't like wild release like an Eminem show or a Get Rich Die Trying scenario. But no, he put a full-on album.
That's dope, man.
No, Kobe as a featured artist was like, it was one of those because he was at the peak of his basketball career, so to naturally have him just kind of like, I'm sure he was a fan of hip hop as most
for sure
basketball stars are.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that video and being like, what the fuck? I didn't know how to feel about it at the time, but then it's definitely like a catchy track that I like. Definitely, it's one of my go-tos and stuff. And just to
another one of these, it's funny how people start discussing people's lives once they've retired or like they're out of the limelight. But one story about Kobe was that I think the Blueprint album had just come out, or was it the Black album? One of the Jay-Z albums had just come out, and like first day, Kobe was in the back by himself, and he would be rapping the entire album. He memorized the entire thing in a span of like the one night.
Shit.
That's how much he loved hip hop. But that's just another. If you can do that, I'm sure you can, but it takes some time.
Yeah. It takes me about, depending on the content of like a song, for example, it'll take me about 3 tries to fully memorize
Nice, that's sick.
a song. But then a rap song, I don't know, man, because it's more fast paced and shit.
Yeah.
It'll take me at least 5 or 6.
Well, Kobe can do
but
it in
Bone
about.
Thugs, like for example, like I listen to First of the Month, every first of the month for the last how many years now? Like I'd say not since it came out, because I didn't always have like the CD, but it's ever since we had like iPods and stuff like that. I've probably been listening. So imagine, well, even outside the first of the month. So I more than a dozen times a year. I still can't memorize it because they just rap so goddamn fast and shit. I've heard it so many times. Like I can do renditions of a rap song simply because like you listen to it so much, and it's rappable. Whereas
For sure.
Bone Thugs, I'm like I can't do those damn tongue twisters that they do.
And they have the crazy, like, they sing rap. Don't they?
Yeah, they got harmonies.
Harmonies
That's
and
basically
all
what it
that
is.
stuff,
They got
so.
that rapid fire thing with the harmonies. I can get the harmonies down, but then like I can never mimic a full on crazy bone verse.
Yeah,
You know,
it's too hard. It's too fast.
lazy I can, busy too fast as well. But lazy and wish are probably one of the more easier ones to mimic. But
Bone
well, what
Thugs.
about you, Danny? What do you think of Bone Thugs? No, what do you think of Kobe? Like, what did he mean to you? Did you even give a shit about basketball, or didn't
I'm
really
not
care?
a basketball guy.
No?
Or a rap guy.
You're not a rap
Or-
guy, but are you a rape guy in terms of Kobe's rape charge? Nah, I won't get into that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Like, yo, Kobe, man, got in some messes
he was
too.
yeah. I mean, look, I'm sure he cheated.
Of course. Yeah,
Like you're a fucking athlete, man. You got cheerleaders and bitches. He did not rape the girl.
No.
I guarantee you.
No.
It's just girls just being like,
It's
I
like
want a buck.
18-year-old white girl who was thinking of getting quick buck.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure she was down.
Yeah. And Chris Rock said himself, fucking Kobe cheated on his wife, and Kobe's wife is fine.
Yeah, man.
Kobe's wife is gorgeous. How the fuck can you cheat on that? But it's just, I mean,
It's Kobe. Kobe.
It's Kobe. It's a man being a man. Like, it doesn't
It's,
matter how hot you're. I once saw this meme, and I'm just like, I'm sure like a by the numbers meme. But then like, there's a picture of a hot girl, and it says, yeah, she's hot, but somewhere in the world, some guy is sick of her. So it's kind of universal truth. It doesn't matter how hard you spend enough time with the person, you're sick of them.
There's certain
Like,
things.
my best friends, like I know my best friends, I get sick of them, not because I'm sick of them, but it's just like you can't handle one person all the time, no matter who it is,
Yeah.
especially a spouse and stuff.
For sure, man.
So
It's-
I mean, I don't justify him cheating, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm like, for those out there who bring that up, who put that with his image of like his basketball greatness, like, oh yeah, he raped a girl. He did not rape a girl. I don't believe he did.
Nah,
So
it's Kobe.
it's Kobe, man. Exactly, it's Kobe.
This dude dropped 60 points. 39 years old. Man.
Exactly.
You know?
He dropped 81 points.
Yeah.
Second place, you know what I'm saying? He came in the league when he was 17.
Who scores 81 points in a game? I mean, that doesn't even really happen very often.
It's like Michael. He made Thriller.
Yeah.
Thriller.
Who cares about no booty hole, little kid's booty hole?
No, but that's the best
Sure, he
argument
lured
you could ever-
children into his house. Sure, he did.
Yeah, but he made black or white, bro.
Yeah, man, come on.
No, that's the best thing you can say about Kobe is like, no, he didn't rape the girl. He scored 81 points, bro.
81 points, cuz.
81 points.
Yo.
How can somebody who scores 81 points and then rapes a girl the next day? Like, it just doesn't add up, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you need to rape somebody?
Apparently, he has these like infamous games where it's like you challenge Kobe to one-on-one. Like that's like a thing.
Against his peers? Like his
Like
basketball peers?
like
Okay.
teammates
Okay.
against whatever, and he goes in all my life of playing one-on-one. He has never lost a one-on-one game.
Not even to like LeBron
Not-
or Iverson?
Nope.
Really?
Not no one to no one to
Really?
nobody. Kobe. That's
We're gonna
what's up.
okay. For those out there
That's
watching,
what's
Google
up.
some images and some stories to see whether or not this story is corroborated by his peers.
Well,
Did
yeah,
Kobe,
no, they're
did Kobe actually never lose a one-on-one game to
That's-
any of his
that's-
basketball stars?
This is what Kobe claims himself. It's like, I've never lost a one-on-one game, ever.
That's because he hasn't played me yet.
Yeah, no. He
82 points in 8 years. Fuck,
imagine
I'm not
that
even a
though,
crazy
being
baller
the
over there.
best in the world, like at something.
Just imagine when like LeBron retires. You know what I mean? Because he's like a year older than us.
Yeah.
Like Kobe's 8 years older than us. But imagine when like LeBron retires or Steve Kerr or like. You know, it's one of those things where you know you're getting old when this person's retiring. You're like, this guy's my age and shit. You know,
I should be retiring too.
Exactly.
No.
But no, Kobe will be missed in the basketball world. I mean, he's not dying. Hopefully, he doesn't die. Knock on wood. Chyna, we will miss you. Prince, we will miss you.
What
were you gonna say?
Well, no, it was just what he wanted to do after basketball was to do a production company on its storytelling. So I don't know how it's gonna be set up.
AKA movies.
I don't know if it's movies or if it's
Production
more of
for
like an actual like documentary style storytelling.
Gotcha.
That type of stuff, but we'll see.
Sure.
Because it was the narrative of that night. Kobe's last night's narrative was almost like a Cinderella story. Like at the very same night that he is playing, the Golden State Warriors won. We're breaking
the Bulls
records.
Right. I missed that game too. Shit. Man.
Steph Curry dropped the most 400 plus 3-pointers in a season, which is unheard of. The record before was 300
3-pointers, like
in
300
total.
goals or like
400
or points.
400 3-pointers made in 400 times 3. 400
So he
3
made
points made
1,200 points in 3-pointers alone.
in 3-pointers alone in this season. The record before that was 360 something last year, which is also held by Steph Curry. So this guy broke his own record.
Shit.
Let's just out of perspective, average really good basketball players at their peak, maybe 300 plus. That's
in a season.
In a season, maybe 300. He did it 400.
Holy
It's like
shit.
that's how crazy Steph Curry is. That's why there's really nothing to compare. So in the narrative of
Okay, are we sure we're talking like
400
shots made and not the actual points?
400 made 3
No,
pointers.
yeah, it's 300. It's 3 points. 400
3-pointers.
Pointer shots made.
So 1,200 points
Oh, it's just 3-pointers alone.
in 3-pointers. Holy
Yeah,
fuck,
that's how
man.
this guy is. But I just literally read it a couple minutes ago. He may have sprained his MCL, so he's out he's out now. It just happened today. It just happened.
What are we at in the playoffs? Game what?
This
Game
would
two?
be game 3.
We're game 3 now. Shit. I
4.
haven't even followed up
Game
on it.
4.
I'm waiting to move into my new place. We didn't get a chance to talk about that.
Dude,
But we will be going to a new place next show. But I would love to, start following basketball again once I'm in the middle of moving and everything. But
we're stoked for that, man. Like
yeah, that's
right.
One thing I want
Wait a
to
minute.
one thing I want to close on. We didn't get a chance to talk about. You guys are going to LA.
Yeah.
So here's an update of what's going on in the show again to our 22 listeners. We are trying to be more frequent, at least once a week to once every 2 weeks to do the show. Like I said, my co-host Daniel couldn't make it today, but it's all good because Jonas always comes through and he's got our back and everything. And but next week apparently you guys are going to LA.
2
Props to you
weeks.
guys doing a road trip. I didn't even know that was like. Me and Danny have this thing where we have a tradition of watching every Marvel movie that comes out. Maybe not necessarily on premiere night, but definitely during the weekend and stuff. So I guess it's a little bit of karma because sometimes I'm out of town working, and he does have to wait at least a week for me to come. But he'll still watch it at least once before I am.
Yeah.
But usually we're together in the same city to watch the next comic book movie to come out. And with Civil War is supposed to be this big thing, man. I think it's gonna be bigger than Star Wars in terms of like. Maybe not box office, but like impact. Definitely a better movie because Force Awakens has become like a 50-50 and fan and critical opinion and stuff. But I think Civil War is shaping up to be because early reviews has already given it high scores and saying it's one of the best.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. Wow.
But I was hoping to cover that, but we'll have to
When does that come out?
Send us some
May-
footage of you guys on the road or whatever, or like of you guys like a quick reaction. Something that's sendable through a phone or email in terms of gigabyte space, so we can plug that into the show or whatever. Of you guys watching it, if you guys are gonna watch it in LA. I would imagine you're gonna watch Civil War in LA when you go down there.
You gonna watch it or what?
I don't know.
I might.
This guy might. I don't know.
Yeah.
My trip in LA is very like freestyle, man. I have nothing really planned apart from training.
Well, there
Oh,
you
you're going
go.
just
so
for
be like,
training.
hey, let's go
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
theater. You know?
Well, yeah, because I mean, I pretty much have blocks of time where it's just time off, right? So I'm gonna hit the beach and just,
yeah,
try to
show me
talk
the
to some
beaches.
Cali girls. Yeah, man.
yeah.
Newport, man. We're gonna go Newport Beach. I'm stoked, man.
I'm down.
Again, California is a special place in my heart, man. No matter how jacked and shit that place might get, it's like I don't know if you guys
You're gonna
understand
go
how,
see a retired Kobe Bryant
yeah,
chilling
dude,
in.
I'd be like,
Sunset
yo,
Boulevard.
hook, like holler, dude. California has everything, man. In that one little town, everyone lives in there. Like everyone that like on TV or in
Shit.
music, it's all in that one. You're breathing the same air,
This is
essentially.
Newport?
No, not Newport, but like in Orange County, Southern
yeah.
California. Kobe lives in Orange County, like he's
Yeah.
baller.
That's right. You got like cousins and aunts and uncles down there.
Yeah,
don't
I
you?
got
that's right.
cousins, and my aunt lives there as well, which I have to visit as well. But
Give him a shout. Tell him
for sure,
get us an LA audience. Why don't you?
you know what? I want to try to get my buddy Bobby. He's like Bobby Alahaji. He is my cousin's ex-husband. He is he's the father to my second cousins, I guess.
Okay.
Right? So no, he's a chill guy, but he's lived out in LA all his life. He's like a regular LA guy,
Yeah.
like typical, and he has he'd be down to do a podcast. That'd be fun.
No, but just plug the show. I mean, I know it's not getting
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we are
yeah,
now,
yeah,
but then
yeah,
we're getting there. We're
For sure,
slowly
man,
getting
for
there.
sure.
It's just time and location, and yeah, we are. Good luck in LA.
Thanks,
You
bro.
know, do your thing. I know you go there all the time. That's your second home,
Fuck
but
yeah.
have fun there.
Love it.
You know what you have to do in LA. I don't even have to say. I just look at you. You know what I'm saying?
But
But yeah.
Go
Thanks
hard,
for watching,
bro.
guys. This is episode 6.5/7. We'll still throw bits and pieces of episode 6, but if Danny, hopefully, at least before you leave for LA, can we get these episodes going so we can
Yeah.
whatever. All right, so we will do that. Until now, peace. Everybody say peace to the camera.
Peace.
Peace.